Oh well, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Live from Saigon, it's now. I'm Rodney, well, they call me Rodney Josephson. That's the name they gave me. So anyhow, today is a nice day as usual. Nice and sunny in the garden, see plants growing, peaceful. Perhaps I'll install a bamboo like a bamboo structure in the back so I can have more shade. Maybe a little net to bring the shade in a little bit better, but still get the sunlight. I like bamboo. Anyhow, let's get into the meat and potatoes. So the story of King Solomon. Solomon. Solo, of course, you should know what solo means. It means individual, a solo, one, single. Mon could have various meanings, but generally, Solomon would suggest a good man, let's say. So the king of the proposed time in Israel, or that area, I should say, I don't remember the actual date. So hundreds of years before the alleged Jesus Christ, starting of time, so-called time. So it's an interesting story. It's an allegory. Stories. Remember, stories. Stories from the Bible, Scripture. And when you understand or know how to read these things, you can see that they're just stories. It's a story of man and his endeavors and struggles in life, trying to find himself, you know what I mean? So this story is about King David, the son of, King David. King Solomon, the son of King David, as it's told. So remember the story. So in his kingdom, he ruled 12 tribes. 12 tribes of so-called Israel, or the area around there. And there are different names for these tribes. And we'll get into that idea in a little bit. He had 12 so-called tribes, or areas of people, as it's told in the story. 12, remember 12. He had great wealth, the wealthiest man alive at the time. He had 700 wives and 300 in his concubine. So that's 1,000 women. How much else could you ask for? You have everything, right? Now what's interesting to note, remember numbers, 12 tribes. He's the king, King David. See him right here? With his jewelry and, yeah. Anyway. So, Jesus, in his Last Supper picture, what does he have? 12 disciples. So there's 6 on the right and 6 on the left. And he's in the middle, 13. He makes 13, doesn't he? So if King David is ruling his 12 tribes, he's the 13th. Oh, what a coincidence, yeah? So 700 and 300. 7 plus 3 is 10. Or, 10 is a special number. Actually, you remove the 0, it's 1. So, anyhow, King David, his greatest wish was when he would dream, he would ask God, give me wisdom and discernment. Give me the ability to know how to run my kingdom, my kingdom. Yeah. So God granted his wishes, and he gave him more and more. So Israel, Israel. So this means consciousness. I am conscious. It doesn't mean a paper map with lines drawn on it. That is man's mental construct, and he thinks this is a real thing because they have other men there with guns saying that this piece of dirt is mine, but you can't see the invisible line, but it's mine. So that's man's illusionary delusions of something that doesn't actually physically exist, though there is dirt or sand there. So he is blind in his thinking, let's say. Anyhow, so Israel means I am conscious. Jesus means I am. I am conscious. So he's attempting to become conscious of what he needs to do, because he is king. Everyone is the king. So if he just realizes that he is the king, he doesn't need to ask anyone. He does as he does, and he will get what he gets. That's a simplistic idea of it. So here we got, these are the 7 eyes of God, or the 7 chakras. We get the lowest one, it's red. And we go up, we got at the top, it would be the pineal gland, and then the crown chakra, and that would be, maybe was it purplish and white. And I have the figure, I have the infinity sign up here. That's in eternity. So that's one who knows he is eternal with so-called God or the universe. So, again, he's dreaming, and he wishes that he needs this wisdom and discernment to know how to run his kingdom. And, the story goes on. You can read all the, the stories. Remember the stories? Someone wrote the story, right? But there's a message in the story. And all the messages, you can match it up today with so-called business leaders that got the same thing going on in their kingdom because they lost the connection. They lose themselves, and they go down here in the man's world, the physical, the flesh. So if you're dwelling in the flesh more than you should, that would suggest that if you're losing your connection to so-called your divine right of knowing who you are and your skill, your abilities to creation and to maintain your creative powers in balance, then you're going to be out of balance. So this story is telling you that he had great wealth. He had women, he had areas of millions, thousands of people under his control, and money, gold, everything coming out of his backside. But how many women do you need? He must have been tired. Yeah, that's a little humor there. So he gave all his power. He had all his power to create and gain all his wealth. Yet he lost it because he gave away his power. If you can, it's like a catch-22. He didn't have the concept of wealth within him, that he is already abundant. So he transferred his ruling power, his kingdom, to external wants or desires, and he gave up his control or power. He lost himself with, the story goes, with 1,000 women. I mean, isn't that a little ridiculous? Anyway, but it's just the story. Again, allegory. Every man, woman, every man goes through the same idea, it's the same thing at different levels. Whether it's you have 100 girlfriends, 1,000 girlfriends, what's the difference? 10,000. It's all relative, right? If you lose control of your scruples, or how you want to call it, your moral and ethical standards, you're more into the flesh of saving everything and not contributing, letting people be free, as they say. You get 300, you get these 1,000 people locked up. You can't go anywhere. You just wait for me when they come. Oh yeah. So anyway, now, what do I know about this area? This would be the map, general map. Looks like a toilet, actually. And anyway, this is the map of this would be Egypt. This is Palestine. This is the so-called Israel. This would be Syria, Libya, and anyway, we have these countries, so-called countries. Lines, imaginary lines, and but there's a river and similarly a lake, and there are forested areas and mountains and whatnot. Now, multiple times I had outer body experiences. That means, and some people say NDE, near-death experiences. They leave the body and come back. Well, you don't have to get in a car accident and have an outer body experience. It will naturally happen when you can become aware of what you're doing. So I experienced this out of body process many times, but a couple substantial ones were in this area, and I drew a map, and I remember distinctly what happened. So X are places, and this is the map that I drew when I woke up out of my so-called sleep, and then went back to sleep. So I visited the north. That would be Syria, some lower southern part of Syria. The name, I don't recall any name. I went to a large house or a mansion, and discussed with the lady about something about money related to that mansion or large house. I then was down here in the south. I remember going across a river, also in mountainous forested areas, and then also to the west, I'd be in Egypt. And depending on the location here, there were a lot of discussions. Again, the message to me was Levant, and I scribbled that down on the paper, my note when I woke up, and the next day I searched it. It could have been Latvia, or then the Levant. Now Latvia is in Northern Europe. It'd be Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, which kind of has the same shape. Water here and then land. But from my multiple dreams, I determined it's the Levant. Now the Levant means a water. It's a body of water here. The area is called the Levant because of the water, whether underground or whatever you want to call it. And then there's also a tribe called the Levites. Levites, yes. And they're in the so-called northern area. So these are revelations, so-called from dreams, that this was before the so-called Israel, the country of Israel, fighting with its neighbors, or Palestine, or Iran. Yeah, it's funny how that Iran news story ended pretty quickly. Anyway, that's a different political man nonsense. But this is what was revealed to me. The area is called the Levant, and these are the places I visited, and I knew the topography and the area and what it looked like, and had discussions. So King David is it's the story of man. If he doesn't get his house in order, he will lose his control and be separate from, nature and how the system works, or how the natural law or universal laws work, not man's law. And so if you lose that connection, then you're in the flesh, operating in man's like a world. And man's world, if you watch the media and and see how some countries are behaving, you can see what kind of delusional activities, ideas, and actions they have. I won't have to mention the names. So basically, that's all I'm going to say to you. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions, want to get my books for free, of course. You can listen to my music or whatever. There's always a message in those things, I'm going to end it there. Thank you for attending again. See you next time from Saigon. Ciao.